The thing about public humiliation is that it tastes like cheap beer and sounds like your wife's cackle echoing off dive bar walls. I'm Jack Mercer, and right now I'm watching my marriage get dissected like a high school biology frog at the Blue Loon, Maine's finest establishment for watching dreams die. "You can't even please me, let alone take care of me," Lila announces to her brunch squad, her voice cutting through the Friday night crowd like a rusty knife. She's got that look, the one that says she's performing for an audience, and tonight I'm the opening act for her comedy show. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Megan, her Instagram-obsessed best friend, nearly chokes on her Cosmopolitan. "Girl, you did not just say that out loud." "Oh, I absolutely did." Lila flips her blonde hair, the same hair I used to love running my fingers through back when she didn't treat me like a disappointing restaurant meal. Jack here thinks fixing other people's houses makes him some kind of provider. Meanwhile, I'm the one with the real career. Britt, the quiet one who always seems to be recording everything on her phone, smirks from behind her wine glass. "At least you're finally being honest about it." I take a long sip of my beer, a local IPA that costs more than I used to spend on groceries for a week, and study my wife's face. When did those laugh lines turn into sneer lines? When did her smile become a weapon? "You know what, ladies?" I stand up, fishing my wallet from my jeans. Construction work pays decent, but not Cosmopolitan at the Blue Loon decent. This has been educational. Really. Nothing like learning your worth from the woman who promised to love you through better or worse. "Oh, don't be so dramatic, Jack." Lila waves her manicured hand dismissively. "I'm just being real with my girls." "Real." I nod, placing a 20 on the table, enough to cover my beer and tip Maddie, the bartender who's been watching this train wreck with the kind of fascination usually reserved for highway accidents. "Well, here's some reality for you, Lila. If you're going to lose, lose with style." The bar goes quiet enough to hear the ancient jukebox cycling between songs. Even the pool players stop their game to watch. In a town like Millbrook, Maine, population 8,000, entertainment is scarce, and a marriage imploding at the Blue Loon is primetime television. I walk toward the exit, boots clicking on the worn wooden floor, when Megan's voice cuts through the silence. "Oh my God, did you get that? This is going straight to my story." The sound of her phone camera clicking follows me out into the October night air, sharp and clean after the bar's atmosphere of stale beer and broken dreams. My truck sits in the gravel parking lot like a faithful dog, rust spots and all. A 2015 Ford F-150 with 180,000 miles and a work ethic that puts most people to shame. The drive home takes 15 minutes through Millbrook's winding streets, past the old textile mill that's been abandoned since the 90s, past Mrs. Hennessy's house with its perfectly maintained garden and nosy neighbor reputation, past the main street with its collection of antique shops and the coffee place where tourists stop on their way to Bar Harbor. Our house, my house technically, since my name's on the mortgage, sits at the end of Maple Street like a project half finished, which, considering I've been renovating it for 3 years, isn't far from the truth. 2 stories of potential wrapped in vinyl siding and good intentions. I park in the driveway and sit for a moment, engine ticking as it cools. Through the living room window, I can see the stack of hardwood flooring I've been meaning to install, the paint samples taped to the wall, the crown molding that's been waiting for installation since last Christmas. Inside, the house feels different, emptier somehow, even though all of Lila's stuff is still here, her yoga mats in the corner, her collection of self-help books on the coffee table, her expensive skincare products cluttering the bathroom counter. I grab a beer from the fridge and head down to my workshop in the basement. This is my space, the one place in the house where everything makes sense. Tools organized on pegboards, workbench clear and ready, projects in various stages of completion. I'm working on a jewelry box for my sister's birthday, dovetail joints cut by hand because some things are worth doing the old way. The knock comes at 11:30, just as I'm putting the finishing touches on the box's lid. I expect it to be Lila, probably drunk and ready to either apologize or escalate, but when I open the door, it's Maddie from the Blue Loon. "Hey, Jack." She's changed out of her work clothes into jeans and a flannel shirt, red hair pulled back in a ponytail. "Thought you might want some company that doesn't come with a side of public humiliation?" Maddie and I have history. High school sweethearts who stayed friends after we figured out we worked better as buddies than lovers. She's got a sharp wit, a good heart, and the kind of loyalty that's rare these days. "You bring beer?" I ask, stepping aside to let her in. "Do I look like an amateur?" She holds up a 6-pack of the good stuff, local brewery, not the mass-produced swill they serve at most bars. We settle on the couch, and for the first time in months, I remember what it feels like to have a conversation with someone who doesn't treat every word like ammunition for a future argument. "So," Maddie says, popping open her beer, "want to talk about what happened tonight, or should we pretend your wife didn't just perform character assassination in front of half the town?" "Option B sounds good." I clink my bottle against hers. "Tell me about something else. Anything else." We talk about her plans to expand the bar, about my latest construction project, a custom home for a family moving up from Boston, about everything except the elephant in the room wearing a wedding ring and an attitude problem. Somewhere around beer number 3, Maddie falls asleep on the couch. I grab a blanket from the closet and tuck it around her, then head upstairs to bed. Lila's side is cold and empty, which isn't unusual these days. I'm dreaming about dovetail joints when the front door slams hard enough to rattle windows. "What the hell is this?" Lila's voice cuts through my sleep like a chainsaw through pine. I roll over, squinting at the alarm clock, 7:30 a.m., which means she either never came home or she's been out all night planning my funeral. I stumble downstairs to find my wife standing in the living room, still wearing last night's outfit, pointing at Maddie. Maddie, to her credit, sits up slowly, rubbing her eyes. "Morning, Lila. Coffee?" "Don't you morning me, you home-wrecking." "Whoa." I step between them, hands up. "Nobody's wrecking anything. Maddie came by to check on me after your performance last night. She fell asleep on the couch. End of story." "Oh, I'm sure she did." Lila's voice drips with sarcasm. "How convenient. The night I finally tell the truth about our marriage, you've got your ex-girlfriend warming our couch." "The truth?" I laugh, but there's no humor in it. "Is that what we're calling it? Because from where I was sitting, it looked more like a public execution." Lila's phone buzzes, and she glances at it with the kind of smile I haven't seen directed at me in months. The screen lights up with a notification. "Simon G. Hope you made it home safe." Simon G. I file that away for later consideration. "Who's Simon?" I ask, keeping my voice casual. "Nobody." She shoves the phone in her purse, but not before I catch sight of a gym bag I've never seen before, expensive, with Drake Fitness embroidered on the side. "Must be some nobody to be texting you at 7:30 in the morning." "Don't." Lila's voice goes sharp, defensive. "Don't you dare try to make this about me when you're the one who brought another woman into our house." Maddie stands up, folding the blanket with precise movements. "I should go. Jack, thanks for the beer and conversation. Lila, I hope things work out for you." After Maddie leaves, the house feels like a powder keg with a lit fuse. Lila paces the living room, her heels clicking against the hardwood floors I installed last spring. "We need to talk," she says finally. "Now you want to talk? After you spent last night telling your friends what a disappointment I am?" "I was venting. Girls need to vent. About their husbands, in public, with cameras rolling." She stops pacing, and for a moment I see something flicker across her face. Guilt, maybe, or regret. But it's gone so fast I might have imagined it. "You don't understand the pressure I'm under, Jack. My job, my friends, trying to maintain some kind of image while you're content to just exist." "Exist?" The word hits like a slap. I work 50-hour weeks building homes for people. I'm renovating this house with my own hands. I play guitar at the community center for senior citizens because it makes them smile. But sure, I'm just existing. Her phone buzzes again. This time she doesn't hide the smile. "I'm going to shower," she announces, heading upstairs. "We'll continue this later." But I'm not thinking about later. I'm thinking about Simon G. and gym bags and text messages at 7:30 a.m. I'm thinking about the way Lila's been working late 3 nights a week for team-building exercises. I'm thinking about her sudden interest in yoga retreats and weekend conferences. I'm thinking like a man who's been played for a fool. The rest of Saturday passes in tense silence. Lila disappears for hours, claiming she needs to run errands and clear her head. I spend the day in my workshop, but my mind isn't on woodworking. It's on the pieces of a puzzle I'm only now starting to see. That evening, while Lila's in the shower, her phone sits on the kitchen counter, buzzing with notifications. I don't touch it. That would be crossing a line, but I can see the screen lighting up every few minutes. Simon G. Simon G. Simon G. When she comes downstairs, hair wet and wearing the kind of outfit she used to reserve for date nights with me, I'm waiting with 2 cups of coffee. "Going somewhere?" I ask. "Megan's having a crisis, girls' night emergency." She doesn't meet my eyes when she lies, which is something new. She used to be better at it. "On Saturday night? Isn't that when she usually posts those club photos with mysterious guys?" It's not always about social media, Jack. Some of us have real friendships. She grabs her purse, the one with the phone that's been buzzing all day, and heads for the door. "Lila." She stops, hand on the doorknob. We both know this isn't working, I say quietly. The question is what we're going to do about it. For a moment, her shoulders sag, and I think she might actually be honest with me. But then she straightens, and the mask slides back into place. Maybe the problem isn't what we're going to do, Jack. Maybe the problem is what you're not going to do. The door closes behind her with a soft click, leaving me alone with my coffee and the growing certainty that my marriage isn't just broken, it's been sabotaged from the inside. I sit at the kitchen table, staring at the crown molding I still haven't installed, and make a decision that will change everything. If Lila wants to play games, I'll learn the rules, but I'll be playing to win. Monday morning brings rain and revelation. I'm on a job site in Brunswick, installing custom cabinets in a kitchen that costs more than most people's cars, when Pete Morrison, my foreman, and the closest thing I have to a best friend, pulls me aside during lunch break. Jack, we need to talk. Pete's built like a linebacker and has the subtlety of a freight train, so when he's being careful with his words, I pay attention. We walk to his truck, away from the other guys. Pete opens his thermos and pours coffee that could strip paint. Saw your wife Saturday night, he says without preamble. Yeah? Where? Downtown, behind that fancy marketing building where she works. She was with some guy in a Jeep. Nice one, too. Lifted, custom wheels, the whole package. I take a sip of Pete's coffee and immediately regret it. What were they doing? What do you think they were doing, Jack? They weren't discussing quarterly reports. The rain patters against the truck's roof while I process this information. It's one thing to suspect your wife is cheating. It's another to have it confirmed by someone who's known you since high school. You sure it was her? Blonde hair, that laugh of hers that sounds like a hyena with sinus problems. Yeah, I'm sure. Thanks for telling me. Pete nods, studying my face. What are you going to do about it? I don't know yet, but I'll figure something out. That afternoon, instead of heading home after work, I drive to the marketing building where Lila works. It's one of those modern glass structures that looks like it was designed by someone who's never experienced weather. I park across the street and wait. At 5:45, employees start trickling out. I recognize some of them from company parties. Young, energetic people who use words like synergy and pivot without irony. Then I see him, Simon Drake. Has to be. Mid-30s, gym-sculpted physique. The kind of confident stride that comes from never being told no. He's walking toward a black Jeep Wrangler with custom everything, just like Pete described. And there's Lila, emerging from the building's side entrance, looking around carefully before approaching the Jeep. I watch them talk through my truck's rain-streaked windshield. She gets in the passenger seat. They sit there for 10 minutes, and even from a distance, I can see the body language, leaning toward each other, her hand on his arm, the kind of intimacy that takes time to develop. Then they drive away, and I follow. They go to a restaurant I've never heard of, the kind of place with valet parking and cloth napkins. I park down the street and call Lila's cell. Hey, babe, she answers, and I can hear restaurant noise in the background. How's the girls' night going? Oh, same old drama. Megan's having boy troubles again. Where are you guys eating? A pause. That little Italian place on Main Street. You know the one? The Italian place on Main Street closed 6 months ago. Well, don't stay out too late. Love you. Love you too. She hangs up, and I sit in my truck, rain drumming on the roof, feeling something cold settle in my chest. It's not heartbreak. That would require surprise. It's something closer to relief, mixed with a healthy dose of anger. Now I know. The question is what to do about it. Tuesday, I take a long lunch and drive to the coffee shop near Lila's office. I'm not stalking, I'm investigating. There's a difference, and it matters for what comes next. I order a black coffee and sit near the window with a newspaper, playing the part of a guy killing time. At 12:30, Simon Drake walks in, and I get my first close look at my wife's boyfriend. He's everything I'm not. Polished, expensive clothes, the kind of haircut that costs more than my monthly truck payment. He orders something complicated with multiple adjectives and pays with a black credit card. While he's waiting for his drink, I approach the counter like I'm ordering something else. Excuse me, I say, tapping him on the shoulder. Aren't you the trainer at Drake Fitness? He turns, flashing the kind of smile that probably works on most people. That's right. Simon Drake. You looking to get in shape? Maybe. I'm Jack. I extend my hand, and he shakes it. His grip is firm, but not aggressive, a man confident in his strength. What kind of training are you interested in, Jack? Oh, general fitness. Maybe some advice on keeping my wife happy. I smile when I say it, like it's a joke. Simon laughs, but something flickers in his eyes. Well, a good workout routine never hurt anyone's marriage. I'll bet. You married, Simon? No, still playing the field. Plenty of time for that later. His coffee arrives and he checks his phone. Expensive, latest model, the kind of device that costs more than some people's rent. Well, maybe I'll stop by the gym sometime, I say. You do that. Always happy to help a guy improve his situation. He leaves, and I watch him walk to his Jeep. On the back window, there's a sticker for a local hiking trail and another for a CrossFit gym. The license plate reads Drake 1, subtle. That evening, I'm in my workshop when I hear Lila come home. She's actually humming, as she moves around upstairs. When's the last time she hummed around me? I give her 20 minutes, then go upstairs. She's in the kitchen, making herself a salad with ingredients I don't remember buying. Good day at work? I ask. The usual. Meetings, reports, the glamorous world of human resources. See any of your friends? Just the usual suspects. Why? No reason, just making conversation. She looks at me then, really looks, and I see something I haven't seen in months. Wariness. Jack, are you okay? You've been acting strange lately. Strange how? I don't know. Different. Like you're paying attention to things you usually ignore. Maybe I'm just trying to be a better husband. She smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. That's sweet. But you don't need to change who you are. Don't I? Because from what I heard Friday night, who I am isn't working out so well. The smile fades. That was just girl talk, Jack. You know how it is? Actually, I don't. But I'm learning. Later, after she's gone to bed, I sit in my workshop with a beer and a notebook, writing down everything I know. Simon Drake, personal trainer, drives a black Jeep, license plate Drake 1. Works at Drake Fitness, probably owns it. Single, or claims to be. Confident, expensive tastes, thinks he's smarter than he is. Has been seeing my wife for at least several weeks. I close the notebook and finish my beer. Tomorrow, I start playing for keeps. Wednesday brings the kind of crisp October morning that makes Maine worth the winters. I'm at the job site early, before the rest of the crew, thinking through my next moves when my phone rings. Jack, it's Maddie. You got a minute? Sure, what's up? Can you meet me for coffee? There's something I need to tell you, and it's not phone conversation material. We meet at Grind Coffee, the local place that survived the chain invasion by serving actual good coffee and minding its own business. Maddie's already there when I arrive, sitting in the back corner with 2 cups and a serious expression. This is about Lila, she says without preamble. I figured. After what happened Friday night, I started paying attention. You know how bartenders are. We see everything, hear everything, and usually keep our mouths shut. But this is different. She slides a napkin across the table. On it, she's written a name and phone number. Jessica Chen, she came into the bar Monday night, 3 sheets to the wind and talking about her ex-boyfriend. The cheating, lying ex-boyfriend who owns a gym and drives a black Jeep. I look at the napkin. Simon's ex. Bingo. She's got stories, Jack. And she's got proof. What kind of proof? The kind that would interest a wife who's being played by the same guy who played her. I fold the napkin and put it in my wallet. Thanks, Maddie. There's more. Lila's been coming into the bar during the day, when I'm doing inventory. She thinks I don't notice, but she meets with her friends, Megan and Britt, and they talk about you like you're a problem they're trying to solve. Solve how? They're planning something, Jack. I don't know what, but it involves lawyers and that house of yours. The coffee tastes like ash in my mouth. She wants a divorce. More than that. They were talking about abuse allegations, about making you look unstable. Britt's been recording everything. Your fights, your reactions, building a case. I set down my cup, my hands steadier than they have any right to be. Then I better get to work. That afternoon, I call Jessica Chen. Hello? Jessica? This is Jack Mercer. I think we need to talk about Simon Drake. A pause. How did you get this number? A mutual friend. Look, I know this is awkward, but Simon's been seeing my wife, and from what I understand, he did a number on you too. Your wife. She laughs, but there's no humor in it. Let me guess. Blonde, works in marketing, thinks she's upgrading. That's her. Where do you want to meet? We agree on a restaurant in the next town over. Neutral territory where neither of us is likely to run into people we know. Jessica turns out to be a small woman with dark hair and the kind of quiet intensity that comes from being burned by someone you trusted. Simon and I dated for 8 months, she says over coffee. He told me he was single, looking for something serious, ready to settle down. All the usual lies. But he wasn't single. Married for 3 years. Wife lives in Portland, thinks he's working late building his business. He's got a whole system. Separate phone, separate apartment, separate life. My blood goes cold. He's married? Very. I found out when she called me, thinking I was a client. Turns out Simon's been running this scam for years. Finds women who are looking for something more, promises them the world, uses them for whatever he needs, money, connections, entertainment, then disappears when things get complicated. What kind of proof do you have? Jessica reaches into her purse and pulls out a tablet. Photos, text messages, emails. He's not as smart as he thinks he is. Plus, I hired a private investigator after I found out about his wife. Turns out your Lila isn't his only side piece. She shows me photos. Simon with different women at different restaurants. Always the same confident smile. Text messages promising love and commitment to multiple women simultaneously. Financial records showing him using his gym as a front for his romantic cons. Why are you showing me this? I ask. Because I want him destroyed, and because your wife is planning to destroy you first. What do you mean? She's been asking Simon about his divorce experience, how to make sure she gets everything. He's been coaching her, telling her what to say, how to act. They think they're being smart, but Simon's too arrogant to be careful. Jessica slides a flash drive across the table. Everything's on there. Photos, recordings, financial documents. Enough to ruin Simon's marriage, his business, and his little scheme with your wife. I pocket the drive. What do you want in return? Help me make sure everyone knows what he really is. I want his wife to know, his clients to know, and especially your wife to know that she's just another mark in his long con. We shake hands across the table, two people who've been played by experts, ready to turn the tables. That night, I'm in my workshop going through Jessica's files when I hear voices upstairs. Lila's home, and she's not alone. I creep up the basement stairs and listen at the door. Megan's voice carries clearly. Are you sure about this? I mean, abuse allegations are serious stuff. It's not like I'm making it up, Lila replies. He's been acting strange, following me, asking weird questions. That's stalking behavior. But you don't have any proof of actual abuse, Britt says. I don't need proof. I need a pattern of behavior that suggests I might be in danger. Once I file the restraining order, he'll have to leave the house, and then we can document everything. His drinking, his obsession with that basement workshop, his friendship with his ex-girlfriend. What about Simon? Megan asks. Where does he fit in all this? Simon's been helping me understand my options. He went through a messy divorce a few years ago, so he knows how these things work. I press my ear closer to the door. The key, Lila continues, is to make Jack look unstable before he figures out what's happening. Once he's out of the house and dealing with legal problems, I can file for divorce and claim I need protection. The house, the savings, everything becomes mine. That's brilliant, Britt says. When do you want to do it? Soon. This weekend, maybe. I just need one more incident, something I can point to as the final straw. I hear chairs scraping, movement toward the front door. They're leaving. I wait until I hear Megan's car pull away, then go upstairs. Lila's in the kitchen, cleaning up wine glasses and looking satisfied with herself. How was girls' night? I ask. Good. We're planning a weekend trip, maybe up to Bar Harbor. Sounds fun. When? This weekend. You don't mind, do you? Of course not. You deserve some time with your friends. She smiles, and for a moment, she looks like the woman I married. Thanks, Jack. You're being really understanding about everything. I'm trying to be a better husband, remember? After she goes to bed, I sit in my workshop with Jessica's flash drive and my notebook, planning my next move. Lila wants to play chess? Fine. But she's about to discover that I've been studying the board a lot longer than she thinks, and I'm 3 moves ahead. Thursday morning, I wake up with the kind of clarity that comes from finally understanding the game you're playing. Lila's already gone. Early meeting, she claimed, which gives me time to set the first domino in motion. I call in sick to work, something I never do, and drive to Drake Fitness. It's a converted warehouse in the industrial part of town, all exposed brick and motivational posters. The kind of place where people come to transform themselves, not knowing they might be getting conned in the process. Simon's working with a client when I walk in, a middle-aged woman who's clearly paying for more than just fitness advice, based on how he's standing close and touching her arm while explaining proper form. I wait until he's finished, then approach the front desk where a young guy with arms like tree trunks is pretending to read a fitness magazine. Is Simon available? I'm the guy he talked to about training earlier this week. Jack, right? Simon appears beside me, all smiles and energy drinks. Ready to get started? Actually, I was hoping we could talk privately first, about goals and expectations. Sure thing, my office is upstairs. His office is exactly what I expected. Motivational quotes on the walls, photos of him with various clients, a desk covered with supplements and protein powders. What I didn't expect was the second phone sitting next to his computer, the one that's buzzing with notifications. So, Jack, what are your fitness goals? I settle into the chair across from his desk and study his face. Honestly, Simon, I'm more interested in relationship advice. His smile falters slightly. I'm not sure I follow. See, I've got this problem. My wife's been acting strange lately, staying out late, being secretive, getting text messages from guys I don't know. You ever deal with anything like that? Simon leans back in his chair, and I see him calculating. Marriage can be tough, man. Communication is key. Right. Communication. I pull out my phone and set it on his desk. Like this communication my wife's been having with someone named Simon G. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you? The color drains from his face, but he recovers quickly. Look, Jack, I think there's been some misunderstanding. Oh, there's been a misunderstanding, all right. See, I thought my wife was just unhappy with our marriage. Turns out she's been getting coached on how to destroy me by a guy who's been running the same scam on multiple women. I slide a printed photo across his desk, one of Jessica's pictures showing Simon with another woman at a restaurant. Recognize her? How about this one? Another photo. Or this one. Simon's hands are shaking now. Where did you get these? From someone who cares about the truth. Someone who got tired of watching you destroy marriages for fun. I stand up, leaning over his desk. Here's what's going to happen, Simon. You're going to stop seeing my wife. You're going to stop coaching her on how to frame me for abuse. And you're going to disappear from our lives completely. Or what? Or I send these photos to your wife in Portland, along with the financial records showing how you've been using this gym to fund your dating life. I also send them to every woman you've been conning, and to the state licensing board that oversees personal trainers. Simon tries to stand, but I'm already moving around the desk. I don't touch him. Don't need to. Sometimes the threat of violence is more effective than violence itself. You don't understand, he says. Lila's different. She's not like the others. You're right. She's my wife, which makes this personal. I head for the door, then stop. Oh, and Simon, if you think about warning Lila about this conversation, remember that I've got recordings of her planning to frame me for abuse. That's conspiracy to commit fraud, which is a felony. I don't think your wife or your other girlfriends would appreciate visiting you in jail. I leave him sitting in his office, staring at the photos, and drive home with the satisfaction of a man who's just played his first card in a winning hand. That afternoon, Lila comes home early, which is unusual. She's agitated, pacing the kitchen while I make dinner. Everything okay? I ask, chopping vegetables with the kind of precision that comes from years of construction work. Fine, just work stuff. Her phone buzzes. She glances at it, frowns, and shoves it back in her purse. Simon giving you trouble? She freezes. What did you say? Simon, your friend from work, the one who's been texting you. I keep my voice casual, like I'm discussing the weather. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you do. Simon Drake owns the gym, drives the black Jeep. Nice guy, from what I hear. Very helpful with relationship advice. Lila's face goes through several expressions before settling on defiant. Have you been following me? Didn't need to. Small town, remember? People talk. What people? I set down the knife and turned to face her. Does it matter? The point is, I know about Simon. I know about the restaurants, the late-night texts, the weekend conferences that aren't conferences. Jack, I also know about your plan to frame me for abuse so you can take the house and everything else. Her mouth opens, but no sound comes out. Did you really think I wouldn't figure it out? Did you think I was that stupid? She finds her voice. You don't understand. Simon and you're what? In love? Planning a future together? I laugh. Lila, you're not his girlfriend. You're his mark. That's not true. I go to my laptop, open it, and show her Jessica's files. Photos of Simon with other women, text messages promising each of them the same future he's been promising her. He's married, Lila. Has been for 3 years. You're just another side piece in his collection. She stares at the screen, her face cycling through disbelief, anger, and finally, humiliation. This can't be real. It's real, and there's more. Financial records, other women, a whole pattern of behavior. Simon Drake isn't upgrading your life. He's been using you to practice his con game. Lila sinks into a chair, the fight going out of her. How long have you known? Adi, long enough. The question is, what do we do now? She looks up at me, and for a moment I see the woman I married. Vulnerable, uncertain, human. I don't know, she whispers. Well, I do. You're going to call Megan and Britt and tell them the abuse story is off. You're going to stop seeing Simon, and we're going to figure out if there's anything left of this marriage worth saving. And if there isn't, then we'll end it like adults without destroying each other in the process. She nods, tears starting to fall. Jack, I'm sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. I know. But sorry doesn't fix everything, Lila. Some things, once they're broken, stay broken. That night, she sleeps in the guest room, and I lie in our bed staring at the ceiling, wondering if I've just saved my marriage or simply delayed its inevitable end. Either way, I'm not the same man who got humiliated at the Blue Loon a week ago. That man was naive enough to believe that love was enough. This man knows better. Friday brings consequences. I'm at the job site, installing the last of the kitchen cabinets, when Pete pulls me aside again. Heard you had an interesting conversation with that gym guy yesterday, he says. News travels fast. His receptionist is dating my nephew. Word is, Simon Drake looked like he'd seen a ghost after you left. Good. Maybe he'll think twice before messing with married women. Pete grins. What's the plan now? Now we see if people are smart enough to learn from their mistakes. But even as I say it, I know it won't be that simple. People like Simon don't just give up when confronted. They escalate. And people like Lila don't just accept being played. They look for someone to blame. I'm proven right when I get home that evening. Lila's car is in the driveway, along with two others I recognize. Megan's red Honda and Britt's white SUV. The gang's all here. I park and sit for a moment, listening to the voices coming through the open windows. They're loud, agitated, and getting louder. Can't just let him get away with this, Megan's voice. He humiliated you in front of everyone. Britt's. Maybe I deserved it. Lila's voice is quieter, defeated. No way. He's been planning this, gathering evidence, probably working with that bartender slut to set you up. I get out of the truck and walk to the front door. The conversation stops as soon as I turn the key. Inside, the three of them are arranged around the living room like generals planning a war. Empty wine bottles on the coffee table, phones out, notebooks with what looks like strategy written in Megan's careful handwriting. Ladies, I say, setting down my tool belt. Planning another girls' night? Jack? Lila stands up, unsteady on her feet. We need to talk. I thought we talked last night? That was before we knew the whole story. Megan waves her phone at me. Before we knew you've been stalking Lila, gathering information, building a case against her. I look at Lila. Is that what you told them? I told them the truth, that you've been following me, investigating my private life, threatening Simon. Threatening? I laugh. Is that what he called it? Britt holds up her phone, screen facing me. We have recordings of you admitting to stalking behavior. We have evidence of you harassing Simon at his place of business. We have documentation of your increasingly erratic behavior. Do you have recordings of Lila planning to frame me for abuse? Silence. Do you have evidence of Simon Drake being married while he was seducing my wife? More silence. Do you have documentation of the three of you conspiring to destroy my reputation so Lila could steal everything I've worked for? Megan stands up. You can't prove any of that. I go to my laptop, still sitting on the kitchen counter from last night, and turn it toward them. Actually, I can. I play the audio file I recorded through the basement door, their voices, clear as day, discussing the abuse allegations and the plan to get me out of the house. Britt's face goes white. That's illegal. You can't record people without their consent. In my own house. Actually, I can. Maine's a one-party consent state, and I'm the one party who consented. I close the laptop and look at each of them in turn. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to delete whatever recordings you think you have of me. You're going to forget about restraining orders and abuse allegations. And you're going to stay out of my marriage. Or what? Megan's trying to sound defiant, but her voice shakes. Or I send this recording to your employers, your families, and the police. Conspiracy to file false reports is a serious crime. So is fraud. So is extortion. I turn to Lila. And you're going to decide right now whether you want to be married to me or not. No more games, no more schemes, no more lies, yes or no. Lila looks at her friends, then at me. Jack, it's not that simple. It is that simple. Do you want to be married to me? I don't know. Then we're done. The words hang in the air like smoke. Megan and Britt exchange glances, gathering their phones and purses. This isn't over, Megan says as they head for the door. Yes, it is, I reply. It's been over since you decided to turn my marriage into a group project. After they leave, Lila and I stand in the living room, surrounded by the debris of 7 years together. Photos on the walls, furniture we picked out together, the life we built that's now falling apart. So what happens now? She asks. Now you pack whatever you want to take and find somewhere else to stay. We'll figure out the legal stuff later. Jack, please, can't we try to work this out? I look at her, really look, and try to find some trace of the woman I fell in love with, but all I see is a stranger who was willing to destroy me to get what she wanted. Some things can't be worked out, Lila. Some things are just broken. She nods, tears starting again. I'll get my stuff. While she packs, I sit on the front porch and call Jessica. It's Jack. Simon's going to be a problem. What kind of problem? The kind that doesn't give up easily. He's been coaching Lila and her friends, and they're not ready to surrender. What do you want to do about it? I want to end this. Permanently. Are you ready to go nuclear? A pause. What did you have in mind? Tomorrow's Saturday. Simon's wife probably doesn't work weekends. Time she learned the truth about her husband. I'll make some calls. After Lila leaves, 2 suitcases and a lot of regret, I sit in my workshop with a beer and the jewelry box I've been making for my sister. The dovetail joints are perfect, the wood smooth and ready for finishing. Some things, when they're built right, last forever. Others fall apart the moment you put any real pressure on them. I raise my beer to the empty house above me. Here's to finding out the difference. Saturday morning brings the kind of October clarity that makes everything seem possible. I'm in my workshop early, putting the final touches on my sister's jewelry box when my phone rings. It's Jessica. Everything's ready. Simon's wife? Her name's Karen. She's agreed to meet us at their house at noon. She thinks we're potential clients looking at their home gym setup. And the others? 3 more women, all with similar stories. They'll be there too. Simon's about to have the worst day of his life. I set down my sandpaper and check the time. 11:30 a.m. I'll meet you there. Simon and Karen Drake live in a suburban development 20 minutes outside Millbrook, the kind of place where everyone has matching mailboxes and nobody talks to their neighbors. Their house is a colonial with a 3-car garage and a lawn that looks like it's maintained by professionals. Jessica's waiting in her car when I arrive. Behind her are 2 other vehicles with women I don't recognize but can guess the stories of. We're all here for the same reason, to watch a liar face the truth. Karen Drake answers the door with a smile that falters when she sees the group of us standing there. You must be the people interested in our gym setup, she says uncertainly. Actually, Jessica says gently, we're here to talk to you about your husband. Karen's smile disappears entirely. I'm sorry. I don't understand. Mrs. Drake, my name is Jessica Chen. I dated your husband for 8 months. These are other women who've been involved with Simon. We think you should know what he's been doing. The color drains from Karen's face, but she steps aside to let us in. The house is immaculate, the kind of place that appears in home magazines, all neutral colors and carefully arranged furniture. Simon's not here, Karen says quietly. He's at the gym. We know, I say. That's why we came now. You deserve to hear this without him trying to spin it. We sit in her living room, and Jessica begins laying out the evidence, photos, text messages, financial records. Each woman tells her story, the same promises, the same lies, the same pattern of manipulation. Karen listens without speaking, her face growing paler with each revelation. When we finish, she sits in silence for a long moment. How long? She finally asks. At least 3 years that we can document, Jessica says. Probably longer. The business trips, the late nights, the separate phone. Karen's voice is barely a whisper. I knew something was wrong, but I told myself I was being paranoid. You weren't paranoid, one of the other women says. You were married to a sociopath. Karen looks at me. And your wife? Soon-to-be ex-wife. She got caught up in Simon's web, but that doesn't excuse what she tried to do to me. What did she try to do? I tell her about the plan to frame me for abuse, about the conspiracy to steal my house and destroy my reputation. Karen listens with growing horror. He coached her on this? Every step. Simon's not just a cheater. He's a predator who destroys families for sport. Karen stands up abruptly. I need to make some phone calls. To my lawyer, to my bank, to the police. There's more, Jessica says. Simon's been using the gym's finances to fund his affairs. That's embezzlement. And some of his clients are minors. If he's been inappropriate with any of them, that's a whole other level of criminal behavior. Karen nods, her shock giving way to anger. Thank you for telling me, all of you. I know this couldn't have been easy. We leave her there, sitting in her perfect living room, surrounded by the ruins of her marriage. As we walk to our cars, Jessica turns to me. Think she'll follow through? Look at her house. Look at her life. She's not going to let Simon destroy everything she's built. What about Lila? Lila made her choice. Now she gets to live with the consequences. That evening, I'm at the Blue Loon, sitting at the bar and nursing a beer while Maddie works. The place is busy for a Saturday night. Couples on dates, groups of friends, people living their lives without drama or deception. My phone buzzes. Text message from an unknown number. This is Karen Drake. Simon's been arrested. Embezzlement, fraud, and some other charges I can't pronounce. Thank you. I show the message to Maddie. She reads it and grins. How does it feel to be the good guy for once? Like I need another beer. She pours me a fresh one. What about Lila? What about her? Are you going to try to work things out? I think about it, watching the foam settle on my beer. Some things can't be fixed, Maddie. Some people show you who they really are, and you have to believe them. So what's next? Next, I finish renovating my house. I focus on my work. I play guitar for old people who appreciate good music. I live my life without worrying about people who think I'm not good enough. Sounds lonely. Sounds peaceful. My phone rings. Lila's number. I let it go to voicemail, then another call, then another. Finally, I answer. What, Lila? Jack, please, we need to talk. Simon's been arrested, and I think I'm in trouble too. You are in trouble. The question is whether it's legal trouble or just life trouble. The police want to talk to me about the conspiracy thing. My lawyer says I could be charged as an accessory. Then you should probably talk to your lawyer instead of me. Jack, please. I know I screwed up, but I'm scared. I look around the Blue Loon, at the normal people living normal lives, and make a decision. Lila, I'm sorry you're scared. I'm sorry Simon played you. I'm sorry our marriage didn't work out, but I'm not sorry that actions have consequences. So, that's it? 7 years, and you're just going to throw it all away? I didn't throw it away. You did, when you decided I wasn't worth being honest with, when you decided to destroy me instead of just leaving me. I never meant for it to go that far. But it did go that far, and now we both have to live with what happened. I hang up and turn off my phone. Maddie's watching me with concern. You okay? I'm getting there. She reaches across the bar and squeezes my hand. For what it's worth, I think you're plenty good enough. Lila was the one who wasn't good enough for you. I finish my beer and leave a generous tip. Outside, the October air is sharp and clean, full of possibility. I drive home to my house now, officially and completely, and sit on the front porch, looking at the work still to be done. Crown molding to install, floors to finish, a dozen projects that will keep my hands busy while my heart heals. Mrs. Hennessy waves from her garden, where she's planting bulbs for next spring's flowers. Evening, Jack. Heard you had some excitement this week. Nothing I couldn't handle, Mrs. Hennessy. Good for you, dear. Some people need to learn that actions have consequences. I wave back and go inside, to my workshop, to my tools, to the honest work of building things that last. 6 months later, Lila pleads guilty to conspiracy charges and gets probation. Simon gets 3 years in state prison. Their story becomes local legend, the kind of cautionary tale people tell at bars and coffee shops. I finish the house, play more guitar, and learn that happiness isn't about having someone who thinks you're good enough. It's about being someone you can live with. And for the first time in years, I like the man looking back at me in the mirror.